Good morning, everyone. This is Richard Bernhardt. I'm with Streakwave Webinars, and we're very pleased to have you with us today for another Streakwave Webinars Presents. In this case, it's Ubiquiti World Network. We're going to be talking about where the World Network is, its updates, information, and benefits today. I'm very pleased to have some great guests with us to go over this program, which can provide you with all kinds of benefits, some of which will be exceptionally valuable to your business. If you haven't heard of the Ubiquiti World Network, let me give a little bit of background. This started approximately a year ago by Ubiquiti Networks, and they put together this program in order to help you promote your own business. It includes aspects of marketing and advertising, and they'll go through all of these aspects, the kind of solutions that you can use and provide. And both Ubiquiti and the DGWB advertising firm will be with us today in order to give you how to do this, how to join it, what it costs, what you can do, and how to do it. A little bit of background before we begin the presentation. As I said, my name is Richard Bernhardt. I'm with Streakwave Wireless. We're a major distributor to the fixed wireless broadband industry, including Ubiquiti. We are pleased to provide access to any equipment that you might need for Ubiquiti, as well as your other fixed wireless broadband needs. If we can be of any assistance after you've heard this webinar or at any time, we invite you to come to Streakwave at www.streakwave.com or give us a call on our 800 number, 888-604-5234. And that's about all the advertising I'm going to do for today because this is a very valuable subject that we want to go over. A couple of ground rules. They're not so much ground rules as things to invite you to do. There's a questions section in your on your dashboard there. So if you'd like to ask a question or proffer some information as we're going through this presentation, please type it into the question section. We will not be opening up microphones so much, but we will take into account the things that you say and the questions that you have. If we can't get to you, we'll try and get to you after the fact. So please do put your questions in throughout the presentation. I'm always asked whether or not I'll be able to see this someplace else, and the answer is we do put these webinars up and are available on demand. I'll give the information at the end of this webinar where you can find it and how you can connect. So with that, it is my great pleasure to present our first presenter from Ubiquiti Networks. JT So is the special projects person for Ubiquiti. He's got a great amount of information about the Ubiquiti World Network as well as Ubiquiti itself. Let me turn it over to JT and let him start telling you a little bit about this program. Welcome, JT.
Thanks, Richard. First off, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I know you're all busy, so we hope that what we'll be sharing with you today is going to be helpful for your businesses and helping you get the awareness of your business out there into the world. For those of you who are learning about the Ubiquiti World Network for the first time, we hope that this presentation will be a nice introduction to everything that we have to offer. And for those of you who are already part of it, we hope that the tactics and some of the ideas and some of the fresh perspectives that will be presented to you today will give you additional ideas to help improve and optimize your advertising campaigns. So with that, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce everyone that will be sharing their knowledge with you today. So I'm JT, run special projects for Ubiquiti, and we have the DGWB team with us today.
Hi everybody, I am Jonathan Brown. I'm Creative Director for DGWB.
I'm Kathy Sosa. I'm the Media Director at DGWB.
Hi, and this is Tom Meyer. I'm Account Director at DGWB.
Great, thanks guys. So before we begin, I want to take some time to introduce what the Ubiquiti World Network is for those of you who are not familiar with it. Ubiquiti World Network is a technology platform and advertising campaign designed to unite the WISP industry into a viable competitor against the phone and cable companies. So as an industry, we lack visibility, so our goal is to get the message out there that there is another option for high-speed internet. And so far, we've seen a lot of success, and as some of you may have seen, we also have several success stories out there. But we want to continue to improve the program, so I'd like to share some updates before we get into the tactics about what we'll be rolling out in the future. So first update is our coverage map. So this is where we currently cover in the United States, and it's a really great start. And if you look into the lower right-hand corner, that is the WISP map, and as you can see, we map very, very closely to it. So far, we're doing really well. But then, if you look to the lower right, you'll see the coverage that cable covers, and you'll see that we're actually catching up to them, and it's actually really good. And so this is with about 700 WISP on the map, and with time, we're going to be adding more and more WISP, so the coverage is going to be better and better. The second update we have is we have 2 new templates to offer and for you guys to use. And this is on top of all the other assets that we have. So we have outdoor banners and newspaper ads being added to the portfolio of television and web ads, radio ads, billboards, postcards, lawn signs, door hangers, and flyers. So again, now you have a large arsenal for you guys to use for your advertising campaigns. The third update we have is new and redesigned pages. And so what we're doing right now is we took in the feedback for the first round. Again, the first round, as always with Ubiquiti, is an early stage. We get it out, we get feedback, and then we rapidly improve upon it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to revamp the whole page, or revamp the whole site. So as you can see, this is our new homepage. We have featured WISP, and again, it's based on the IP address of the user. We have additional information, and again, it's a much more rich experience. We have updated search pages. And then, of course, every WISP who signs up with the Ubiquiti World Network will have their own page. And this just comes free. Once you sign up, you get this page. And this is where we will link and how customers will reach out to you. And then finally, we have a welcome page. And so this is going to be our point of contact for all WISP moving forward. We're going to put our latest updates, our latest programs, and our latest tools that will be going out the door. So as you can see, one of the 2 things that you'll notice on here is internationalization and our billing beta sign up. And so billing beta is our first tool that we're going to be rolling out fairly soon, and we're in the beta stages of it. So if you sign up, you can definitely join and see and try out one of our new tools. And then internationalization, we've actually rolled out English-speaking countries internationally. So that includes the UK, Australia, New Zealand, so on and so forth. And then we'll be expanding moving forward. All right. Here's a map of that. All right, so at this point, I'd love to hand it over to the DGWB team, and they're going to go through some tactics, some new fresh ideas, and ways for you to optimize or even start your campaign.
Good morning again. This is Jonathan, and as I said, I'm Creative Director, and I'm going to give you a very, very quick piece of background on DGWB and why we're talking to you this morning. So, what DGWB does is we create advertising campaigns. We've done campaigns for Hilton Garden Inn, Toshiba Copiers, and clients as diverse as Children's Hospital of Orange County. But more importantly, we're very proud of the work that we've done for you and with Ubiquiti. It's a really new idea. It's a really fresh idea. And I think the work we can do with you brings that to life. And probably the most important part of it is we do one part, but you do another part as well. We come together. And that's a really good segue maybe to just talk about what the future can't wait means. What it really means is big cable companies, big phone companies, they're slow, they're expensive, and they're really not connecting the customers the way they're needed. The wires aren't coming, the service plans are slow, it's simply not happening. And I think that's where Ubiquiti and the WISP industry steps in. It can provide connectivity when others can't. It can provide service that's reliable when others can't. And so what we see is we've created a campaign that's kind of like the air cover. In a battle, we're the Air Force that comes in and makes sure you're covered on the ground. So we've created a big campaign that's about the future can't wait. The future of connectivity can't wait for big cable and big telephone to do it. You're going to be the ones doing it. And so you've probably seen, and I encourage you to go and look at the 60-second and 30-second TV spots that we've made, some of the billboards we've made, some of the radio campaigns we've made. And that's, as we say, that's the air cover. That's being run nationally to support your efforts on the ground. But on the ground is where you bring it to life, in the grassroots, where it really touches your customers directly. Kind of a 1-2 play. They'll see the big ad, but then on the ground they'll see your flyer directly connecting you to them. So what I'd like to do, and if you can jump forward, JT, is let's get into this. So I've introduced it, but Kathy and Tom are going to talk to you about placing your own media and your own tactics, how you can network your own network. And that's a great, clever play on words, but again, it's really a 1-2 punch. We'll do the big stuff, but the local stuff, that's where you can reach out and contact your customers. So let's go on one more time. JT, if you could advance that slide. Thank you. So the basics, and this is worth reading out. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. It'll all make a difference in the end, we promise, and that's entirely true. Now, I know you're all businessmen and women out there, and you've been running your businesses, building them, and you've had tactics that worked for you in the past. We encourage you to do those in the future. But hopefully, on some of the pages coming up, we're going to show you things that you might not have thought about and that you can use and figure out if they work for you as well. So let's go to the next slide. So we're going to talk, as I said, about objectives, what you want to achieve, and tactics, the actions you're going to take to get to your objectives. Let's go to the next slide. So why are we going to talk about poor objectives? So a poor objective might be increase number of customers, expand service areas. And you might also say out there, well, that sounds great. I'm going to get more customers. I'm going to serve more areas. What is wrong with that? What we feel is wrong with that is there's no goal set on that. So it's really hard to measure, and it's really hard to apply resources to and know if it's working. So if we go forward, next slide. A good objective would be to actually put parameters on that. Yes, I'm going to increase my customer base, but I'm going to do it by 15%. So if I've got 100 customers today, I'm going to increase by 15% over the next 12 months. Now I'm measuring against something. And if I want to increase those customers, I'm going to expand into 2 new service areas by December, meaning I've got to put infrastructure in to serve that new customer base that I'm going to put together. So hopefully you can see, and again, I'm talking to business people out there. I bet you're nodding your heads and going, yeah, of course we know this, but it's important. Your objectives have to be measurable. So in 12 months' time, you can say what worked, what didn't, what's right, what's wrong. And in talking about that, if we can go to the next slide, this is a wheel. Once it gets going, it should never really end. And we really do mean go. So once you put your advertising out there, it's really important to track it. Very easy to do, from the most basic thing of when you get a lead, you're going to the appointment, and you might ask, hey, how did you hear about us? It's a very easy way of understanding where that lead came from. Well, obviously that flyer in the laundromat worked, or obviously the theater spot works because they're telling me about it. So, or it might be a little bit more complex by assigning specific 800 numbers and then seeing where leads come from. So once you're tracking, then check it. Is it meeting your needs? The things that work, do them again, and what a surprise. The things that don't do those. But by this way, you'll see that you're doing less scattershot, more specific things. Things that don't work, you'll push to one side. The things that you do work with, you'll do more of and have more success with. So that's kind of my setup. The real meat and potatoes is Kathy, who's going to talk about media, and Tom, who's going to talk about tactics. So I'm going to hand it over to Kathy.
Hi. I have been working with JT over the past year doing the national campaigns that some of you might have seen. So, you know, I'm very familiar with your product and how to get the message out. So what we've found is that mass media really does help you grow your customer base, and that customers really need multiple touch points to accelerate their path to purchase. So you can't just rely on one media and expect change. So this is why we're going to talk about different ways of looking at things. TV still gives you the largest reach in a marketplace, and it really is the fastest way to get a message out. Next slide. You know, and when we talk about television, we talk about, yes, over-the-air TV, but I'm going to talk to you about a few more areas that you can look at that would be the equivalent of TV per se. So let's talk about TV first. In most cases, we buy by target rating points against a demo, and your demo is probably an 25 to 54-year-old. So that's who, when you negotiate your rates, that's who you're trying to reach with the stations. And I wouldn't recommend anything less than a 2-week flight if you're doing TV. So you can do 2 weeks on, get off, come back on 2 weeks, and that would give you a nice solid plan. Other ways that you can run your spot would be cable, and on cable I'd recommend sports, news, or local sports. Those are the programming that gets skipped the least or DVR the least. So you'll have a live viewership of this. You have movie theaters you can run the spot in. Health clubs have a TV network. Bowling alleys, you have gas station TV. 7-Eleven, Walmart TV, you can run as a video on your social media pages. So there's a lot of areas that you can get your TV spot out and touch customers in multiple areas. Ubiquiti has, as JT mentioned, television spots, and they come in 60 and 30 seconds, which will include your company's logo, phone number, and URL. So it'll be very localized to you. And the nice thing is, regardless of where you put it, the highly produced spot really gives you an aura of being a big player in the marketplace. So, grab those spots. TV might be expensive, but as I just mentioned, there are other areas that you can run it, and you'll look great. Next slide. The other media that we take a look at is radio. And what radio does, it really gives you the frequency in the marketplace. So it works great with TV because it's a reminder. But if you can't buy TV, it is another way of getting your message out into the market. And next slide. When we talk about radio, it's over the air. You have stations in the market that you can buy. And if you do buy stations in the market, don't buy one station. I know a lot of times locally they try to say, oh, you can just buy our stations and we have the reach. It doesn't work. You need to buy multiple stations so you can reach the market, at least 70% of the market. And we like you to do that, set that goal. I want to reach 70% of the people in the market. I want them to hear my spot 3 times. And what that usually equates to is about 18 spots a week per station in the market. And another way that you can use radio is Pandora. Pandora in a lot of markets is the #1 station. I know here in LA, far outperforms our other top over-the-air stations. So that's another area that you can look at for radio. Ubiquiti has provided live read scripts. So in other words, you can talk to a DJ, they can read your spot live. And then the cool thing about a live read, it really gives you the perception that they're endorsing you. Even though they really aren't, that's what people usually think because that's their favorite DJ. Or you can run customized 60-second spots, which are produced, which will also give you a nice lift in the marketplace. But always remember to negotiate added value. And what I mean by added value is have the stations include you in their events. So if they're going to the local fair, as part of your buy, you need to be there. You can give away, you can set up a table with them. So there's a lot of things that you can do outside of just buying a spot with the station. Next slide. The next area would be out of home. So in out of home, it really keeps your message in the market constantly. This is what gives you what I would say every day in, day out coverage, day in, day out. And it becomes, the more you have outdoor up, the more efficient it becomes. Next slide. And when you look at outdoor bulletins or outdoor placement, don't necessarily place it around your place of business as a locator. And the reason why I'm saying that is the way it works best is if you find highly trafficked areas. You want to get, people coming back and forth to work every day, and that's where you need to be. There are 3 outdoor companies, Lamar, CBS, and Clear Channel. They have most of the boards. There are local areas. Just find a great location, negotiate a long-term contract if you love it, or a couple areas where they can rotate it, and then, again, negotiate. Don't pay rate cards. Next slide. When you look at newspapers, in many markets, newspapers really are still an important way to reach consumers. Next slide. The Sunday paper is where we find most of the readership. If you look market by market, they have the biggest readership, the biggest circulation. And it really is, you get people in a leisurely mindset where they're more apt to read about new technology, new activities, look for information. When you buy newspaper, I would recommend a minimum quarter page. If you buy anything smaller than that, you usually get lost. And save money by discount rates, volume rates, combination rates. If you run multiple pages during the week, you usually get the second ad, third ad at a really cheap rate. So if you look at newspaper as a way, and then they have the online versions. In many markets, your major papers will have a digital version that you can run your ads in. So, take a look at all of those areas. Again, negotiate and make sure that whatever you do, you have a multimedia mix so you can touch people at different touch points. So I'm going to turn you over to Tom, who will speak to you more about direct opportunities.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Tom, and Kathy just took you through ways to get your name out in the community using mass media like TV and radio. Well, today I'm going to talk about some less expensive ways of reaching new customers. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is direct mail. So now, as part of the Ubiquiti World Network, you have access to several postcard designs to combat local cable and DSL companies, but there are also versions of these postcards that you can use where there really is no competition. And those of you who have no competition, you're lucky. So the great thing about direct mail, it's direct. It goes right to the homes that you want to reach. So there's two approaches for using direct mail. There's the shotgun approach and the rifle approach. The shotgun approach is the strategy that covers as wide an area as possible. And then the rifle approach is concentrated on a narrow, defined target. So I'm going to give you two examples. So a shotgun approach, you can look at the U.S. Postal Service Every Door Direct Mail, also known as EDDM. So this tactic will send your message to every home in a zip code, or you can kind of narrow it down to a specific carrier route, but you're going to hit every home in that area. So that means you could be hitting existing customers. You could be hitting people that probably can't receive your signal. Let's say they have trees in the way or there's a forest in the way. So, but you're still going to reach every home in that area using something like that. But a rifle approach, you can use your county recorder or a local title company to obtain addresses of new homeowners. So this will let you really target new homeowners in an area that you already service. So you're not hitting everyone. You're really, let's say you look at 6 months, people who have bought homes within the last 6 months, then you can just target them, and they probably don't know of your service or your company yet, so that's a great way to use it. JT, I'm going to stay on the same slide. So since the launch of the Ubiquiti World Network, direct mail is probably the #1 marketing tactic that we've seen employed by WISPs, and they've had a pretty good degree of results. So let's take a look at some typical results for direct mail. So usually direct mail has about a 1 to 2% return. So if you mail 5,000 postcards, you can expect about 50 to 100 leads. And then if you have a really good sales team on that other end of the phone, and you can close 40% of those leads, that means you're going to get about 20 to 40 new customers from the direct mail campaign. So then if you look at the return of investment that you make on this, those new customers, and let's say it's $40 a month times a 2-year agreement, so the revenue from that ranges anywhere from like $19,200 to $38,400, and that's for something that costs less than $1,600 to mail. All right, next slide. But postcards aren't just for mailing. Real estate agents are probably the best example of people who use postcards effectively to get leads. And another thing about real estate agents, they're really excellent at using the calendar for marketing ideas. So let's take a look at a few ideas. So in April, you can stand down in front of a local hardware or grocery store and hand out seed packets that are stapled to your postcards. Or 4th of July, you can distribute U.S. flags in neighborhoods that you want to target along with your postcards. So example, you go in at night, July 3rd, put a U.S. flag at the end of every driveway along with your postcards. People come out in the morning dragging their barbecues, and the entire neighborhood's blanketed with U.S. flags, so people go to look to see why those are there or how they got there, and there's your postcard. October is Fire Safety Month. You can distribute batteries for smoke detectors along with your postcards. Usually local communities will have a fire safety event. You can go to that. Or you can buy batteries, let's say, at Ace Hardware and stand out in front and distribute those. December, we're in Los Angeles, so it doesn't really get cold here, but for you people in the cold areas, you can staple hand warmers to postcards and hand those out. And then we have one example that WISP really took this idea even further, and they bought out a Girl Scout troop's cookies. So they bought all the cookies from the Girl Scout troop, and then they handed out. They stood out in front of the store, and they handed out all the Girl Scout cookies, along with their postcards. So that was a big hit. So that's just a few ideas on how you can use postcards along with mailers. So next slide, please. So besides mailing, there are plenty of opportunities to get your name out in the community that are free. All you have to do is pound the pavement. Next slide, please. So it may be surprising, but something as simple as a flyer with tear-offs can be an easy way to get leads. So, you know, put these in your trucks as your guys are out doing installs, and then when they find some community boards, they can put them in there. So examples of where to find a good spot are laundromats, grocery stores, coffee shops, bus stops, college campuses. These are all great ways to reach potential customers with something as cheap as a flyer, but they're effective. We'll go on to the next slide, please. So door hangers. Door hangers work because they're a little unexpected, and they're right in a place where you can't ignore them. So it obviously takes time to walk a neighborhood to distribute door hangers, so you don't want to do it yourself. So have your installers hit homes on either side of new customers and across the street with these door hangers. But then you can also hire some college kids off of Craigslist. You know, make sure they do the job. You could drive the neighborhood, or also give them a piece of the action for every lead to ensure they distribute the door hangers. But just like postcards, you can use door hangers in different places. So in exchange for free service with local businesses, have them distribute your door hangers. So dry cleaners, if there's you have a new access point, you know, go to the local dry cleaners and have them hang your door hangers on the batch of hangers with the clean clothes. Or if you have a full service car wash, have them put your door hanger on the rear view mirrors of every car. And nobody knows your neighborhood better than local pizza shops because they're out driving it every day. So you can have local pizza shops, give them free service, and in return, they put your door hanger on top of every pizza box. Next slide, please. So besides the ideas that I mentioned for hitting the street, the Ubiquiti Field Guide has more ideas on how you can reach potential customers and get your name out in the community with sponsorships, using free access points, and joint promotions with local businesses. Next slide, please. So there's no better way to get new customers than going through referrals. So many times all you have to do is just ask your current customers to spread the word, and they'll be happy to share the information with neighbors and coworkers. So one way new customers can help spread the word is by agreeing to use your lawn sign after an install. So yard signs are included in the artwork available to you for signing up to the Ubiquiti World Network, as seen here. All right, next slide, please. I want to make sure we have enough time for Q&A, so I'm kind of blowing through these. So besides using a lawn sign and asking current customers to spread the word, many WISPs have established a referral program by giving 1 month free for each referral that leads to a new customer. We've even had a WISP report that they have a waitress in their town that has never paid for service because she provides leads to them on an ongoing basis. You know, she's in a place that she meets a lot of people, she sings the praises of the local WISP, and she gets free service through the leads she gives. But do you want more referrals? Check your Yelp review on Yelp.com. This is what customers are saying about your service, and those reviews obviously stay there for a long time. So if you haven't done so already, you should claim your Yelp page. This way you can thank customers for great reviews, and then also address those that aren't so glowing. You know, you don't want to be combative with those people. You know, you want to be professional and try and fix the problem, because those also stay there for a long time. And then by claiming your Yelp page, it lets you add photos. You could do photos of your install team, photos of guys climbing towers. You can talk about new service areas or new access points. And the best thing about Yelp, it's obviously free. So make sure to ask happy customers to post reviews on Yelp. I've had a refrigerator repairman come to my house, and he was great. He was very professional, on time, did a fantastic job. And he said, hey, would you mind posting a review on Yelp for me? And that's where he gets a lot of his leads. So Yelp is just like asking for a referral. You should take advantage of it. Okay, next slide, please. All right, finally, it's amazing, but fall is almost here, but it's still a perfect time to get out into the community and build your name at local fairs, soccer, and football games. There's a lot of community events still happening in the fall. You have back-to-school times, and then my personal favorite, Oktoberfest. So remember, every marketing piece that we've talked about today, from TV and radio to postcards, flyers, lawn signs, they're all customizable with your company's name, phone number, and web address. So, you know, as a marketing person, I've implemented many field marketing campaigns on small budgets in my career. So the one piece of wisdom I'll pass along, and it goes back to what Jonathan talked about already, is you have to do it, then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. So I'm going to go back to real estate agents. They never stop looking for leads. They are always farming, and that's something what you should be doing. So right now, all you really need to do is get out there and use these marketing pieces. So I want to make sure we have enough time for Q&A, so I'm going to turn it back over to JT.
All right, thanks, guys. So everyone, I hope you found the tactics and the ideas that DGWB has offered to be really, really helpful. And for those of you who are already running campaigns and seeing success, hopefully this will bring you even more. So probably should go through the obvious right now. If you don't have access to this, if you're not part of the Ubiquiti World Network right now, just go to goubiquiti.com. If you want to get access to all these free assets, just go to the advertising page and just download them. All you have to do is one click and you'll have everything to yourself. All right, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at uwn@ubnt.com. All right, so I guess we'll open it up for Q&A now. Richard?
Thanks, guys. It's a very interesting and unique program, and I think I want to highlight a few things before we go any further so everybody knows sort of who can use this, what it costs, how to approach it. First off, JT, do I have to be a primary Ubiquiti customer in order to use this, or can I use a mix of equipment and still use this service?
Yeah, so the answer to that is yes. Simply yes, because what we're trying to do right now is just grow the industry as a whole. And of course, Ubiquiti doesn't have every piece of equipment for every need. So yeah, whatever you need to get the job done, again, this is to benefit the WISP industry, not just Ubiquiti. But again, if you buy Ubiquiti products, of course, more the merrier. We'd love that. But again, you don't have to have all Ubiquiti equipment.
So basically, this is an open program that WISPs should use in order to promote their business. What they promote as they grow, it's good for everybody.
That's absolutely correct, right.
So all of this stuff looks very expensive to me. What costs money and what doesn't? How do I use this? Do I pay for the local advertising? Is part of this the fact that I get the templates for free? Explain what costs and what doesn't.
Sure. So all the assets that you see are free. So the TV ad is free, the newspaper files are free, all the files are free. So all the assets, the pictures, they've all been paid for by Ubiquiti. Now what you're on the hook for is for the distribution. So whatever it costs to pay for the direct mail, whatever it costs to to print the door hangers and to pay a couple college kids to go out and distribute them through your area. The reason why we do that is out of fairness. So a bigger WISP obviously will have a much larger media spend than a smaller WISP. So what this does is we give everyone the same kit, everyone gets the same ads, and it's up to you to distribute into your area and in a way that you know is best. So if you've done marketing in the past, some WISPs have had a lot of success with billboards or a lot of success with newsletters or flyers. You guys know your best, know your area best, so you just manage to spend and you just manage your budget. So advertising is free, assets are free, distribution is on you.
So this is part of operating a small business effectively, is that you've got to get out the word, you've got to make a positive credibility play for your business. And this is some of the tactics and tools that you can use to do that. If I want to follow up with this, how do I get at those tools? After I sign up for the program, is it just available for download? How do I customize them so they look like me, not like you?
Absolutely. So you'll notice that our logo on all these pieces are tiny. Like it's just a tiny little U on everything. And as you can see, everywhere there's a U logo and your phone number, you'll notice is very large as well as your URL. So what we've done is we've made this really, really simple. All you do is sign up, you create your profile page, you upload your logo, you put in your contact information, you put in your product plans, and the moment you do that, those assets are automatically generated for you. You can use our fulfillment program with Lob to get those ads produced, or you can download the PDFs and bring them to your own printers. And what we also have is the templates that you can also download, and again, the pictures and all the copy is already written in there. If you want to customize it even more, if you have an in-house designer or you have a designer that you work with, you can go ahead and take those assets and add whatever you want. So there's special promotion, or if you want to get some product plans on there, you also have those raw assets as well. So we got you covered on both sides. So for the people who want to do the minimum amount of work, they don't have a designer, they don't want to deal with the printers, we got you taken care of. For people who want a little bit more customization, you have the raw files.
So when this program was announced, it was announced that there would also be some advertising by Ubiquiti on a national front or on a regional front, and then the local businesses would leverage off of their own advertising. Can you give us some idea of what has been out there and what's to come in the way of advertising from Ubiquiti for this program?
Absolutely. So we've run Google AdWords. We've done national TV advertising on Direct TV and Satellite TV and Dish Network. So that has been out, and I think a lot of people have seen those already. We've also had some banner campaigns going out as well. And we actually have several things that we've done and with the media spend to get that air cover out there. So there is awareness of Ubiquiti World Network that we have spent money on.
And is there a way, should people do things in markets where you're not advertising? Is it important that they do it in the same market, or can they just do it on their own? Will people recognize the campaign, understand the mantra, the future can wait, if your advertising isn't there?
Absolutely. So, you know, we have several success stories that we've documented, and honestly, the local campaign is really where everything is at. It's been so powerful for so many people. So even if the national advertising campaign doesn't touch those areas, those local campaigns are still very, very powerful, and don't underestimate them. Frankly, I think the local advertising campaign is much more persistent, much more effective than anything the national campaign does. The national campaign softens them up. It definitely does get some awareness out there, and it definitely lets people know that there's another alternative to cable and phone. But really, it's local advertising that really brings in the leads and really brings in the money.
And that local advertising can really work to a WISP's advantage, because if you're a service provider and you're talking to an audience that's used to AT&T or Comcast or whatever your local cable or wireless provider may be, they may be frustrated with those big players. They may have had a hard time either getting them, maybe they're in a rural area and they can't get them, or they've gotten them and they're a constant fight to get things done. That local attention that you provide, that personal service that you provide, is something that you can both leverage and enunciate in this advertising campaign. So the fact that you're doing a local campaign, even if it's not backed up by national ads, has a benefit to you, because there's an awful lot of value in being the local player. Let's turn to another question. One of the attendees asked, and I've been asked this before, if I want to use some of this material on my website, can I do that? Because most of these things are print or television or radio. Is there a way to take the material and put it on my local website?
Absolutely. So yes, you can. And you'll notice in the brand assets section of the advertising page, all the way on the bottom of the page, again, we give you all the raw files, but you also have the raw photos, you also have the audio as well for you to download. So if you're pretty good with making your own movies or making your own ads or making your own video, you can grab those assets, and yes, you can incorporate them into your website. Everything has been paid for.
And tell me a little bit more about how I sign up for this program. What do I have to provide to Ubiquiti in order to do this? How quick can I get going with this campaign?
You can get going within a day. It's super fast. So all you have to do is go to goubiquiti.com. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a sign-up, and then all you have to do is go through the process, create an account, and then all you have to do is create your page. So think of like a Facebook page. You upload your company photo, which in this case would be your logo. You put in your product plans. You would put in your company contact information, and then you just select the brand color if you want to do that. You don't have to, but after that, everything automatically gets created. You just click on over to the advertising page, and everything should be ready to go for you.
So it's a pretty easy process, and then they can kind of pick and choose the templates that they want and the content that they want for their local market, correct? And there's no cost for downloading.
Absolutely. No, there's no cost. So, all that stuff, all the advertising is free.
Talk a little bit about the success stories. Tell me a couple of things that you've heard that people have done with this, and what kind of success have they had? Has it been 1 customer, 10 customers? What kind of response do you see?
Sure. So I am going to actually go over to I'm just going to talk about the 4 success stories that we have. And again, we've had many, many more. We just haven't had time to go and document them. But I can start off with one in Colorado. It was a WISP named Eric's, and they were actually going out of business. They built this amazing network, and they just thought the customers would come in. But what they didn't realize was without the awareness, people didn't know that there was this really other great service out there. So they ran a simple advertising campaign. I think it was either 500 or 5,000 postcards. Regardless, they got this ridiculous return. And so they went from 50 customers to 500 customers. And again, like they completely saved their business with this advertising campaign, with the advertising that they did. So essentially, they were about to go out of business. They revived themselves, and they actually just bought out a couple of other WISPs recently. So that's where all their growth is coming from. So they're doing great. Another example is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There is a WISP called CityLink, and again, they've just done tremendous. And so within the first 6 weeks, they grew their customer base from 500 to 700, and I mean. After that, I mean, the guy got so excited, he's like, I got to get going. So now he's also expanding into multiple cities. I know he's going into Seattle, Los Angeles, a couple of other cities, but I mean, he's going gangbusters right now. So that's how well that advertising campaign has done for him.
So back about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it was longer, I tend to forget the dates on these things, IBM ran an ad campaign. And they had somebody sitting in front of a terminal, and they had posted something, and they'd done something, and they were waiting for people to come to their site. And they all sitting around the terminal, and they're smiling because a couple of hits come onto their website. And then maybe a dozen hits come onto their website. And then before you know it, they've got 10,000 people on their website. Part of what you have to do with this is plan for success, right? So if you use these methodologies, you need to be able to fulfill. You need to be able to say, I'm going to go out there and have a marketing plan. I'm going to use these tactics along with my own tactics in order to gain the base. But I also have to be able to be responsive to that. And so if I get 100 people who respond, or 1,000, or whatever it is, I need to be able to go out there and put that equipment in effectively and follow through. So in all the years been working with WISPs, that's one of the things that you always have to plan for in advance. Some of you grow at a very, very set rate. So you get 25 new customers a month or 30 customers a month. Doing this can lead to getting many more customers than that. So you just need to be able to plan for that. So I'm going to go over to the guys in our advertising firm and have you guys give me a little bit of an idea of what's the staging or timing. How should I do this? Should I do it all at once in a blast, or should I do it staged over time? One of you said that I should do it and then repeat it and repeat it. Talk a little bit about how to use these tactics effectively. We have the tools, but what's the timing associated with it?
So hi, this is Tom from DGWB. So when you're looking at doing your campaign, what we know that works best is when you have a large mass media to go along with your ground tactics. That will work best. So if you're running in theater advertising, or you are able to buy cable advertising and you're running your customized TV spot, along with having your postcard and your door hangers and your flyers going out at the same time. Now what you can do is you can flight those. So that means you can go on for a little bit, and then go off, and then come back on again. That allows you, what Richard, you were just talking about, was being able to do all the installs, giving good customer service so you do get good reviews, and then coming back on. One tactic that or tip I'd like to share with you when you're doing local marketing is one great avenue is Google Voice, because you can get a local phone number separate for each one of your marketing pieces. So you can put a special phone number on your TV campaign, on your radio campaign, on your flyers, on your postcards, and have a different number on each one of those, but then they all ring into your sales phone number. That way you can go back into your analytics on Google Voice and you can find out where those calls are coming from. You can, instead of just asking somebody, hey, did you see our TV spot? Oh yeah, I kind of remember seeing that. You can get what number they called in on, and you can actually see what is working for you. And then obviously you want to rinse and repeat, and do those over and over again. So Google Voice is a great avenue to be able to see what works. And then obviously we kind of flew through this stuff to make through the time frame of the webinar today. There is a Ubiquiti field guide that has all these ideas, more and more details available to you that you can download, and it's a PDF file so you can read through some of the same information we presented, and then also there's more details.
Okay, we have just a few more minutes. I wanted to cover a couple of things and one or two more questions, and then we'll round up for the evening. First thing is, and I get asked this on every webinar, as I said at the top of the webinar, there's a lot of information here, and I didn't catch something, or I heard something that I want to hear again, or I'd like to show this to somebody in my team. How do I do that? The answer is Streakwave Webinars always makes available the webinars to the public on demand within about 48 hours. Sometimes it's less. It takes a little time to edit and make things ready for the web. We'll have a copy of this webinar posted to streakwave.com. If you go to streakwave.com, www.streakwave.com, and come to the manufacturer Ubiquiti and look on the tabs at the top, it'll say webinars and videos. You'll find this webinar, and you can go through it at your own pace, however you would like. In addition, we have hundreds of videos, educational information, and webinars available on our YouTube channel. YouTube is very easy to use. You can go to www.youtube.com/streakwave and join our channel, subscribe, or you don't even have to subscribe to watch. You can just come in and pick the information that you want. This webinar will be there as well, so you can take a look at it, and then look at our Learning Center, and it will be there as well. So if you want to show this to someone else, you want to listen to it again, you want to take a closer look at the slides, perfect place to do that. Another piece of information is if any of you are interested in any of the stuff that you've heard but you don't exactly know how to execute on it, I would suggest coming to the Ubiquiti site, sign up for the program, take a look at it, and that's a good way to get questions asked. If you have questions about equipment, you can come to Streakwave at streakwave.com or give us a call at 888-604-5234, and that number is on our website again if you need it. A couple of last questions, and then we're going to wind up. I'm in the neighborhood, for example, that sometimes the language English is not the primary language. Can I translate these into a different language or use them in a different fashion so that they target my audience correctly? Is there a way to do that? And are other languages available, or do I need to do that myself?
So right now, you can just download the raw files, and yes, feel free to translate them to your market.
And so if I need to use them, I can kind of customize them for my own language needs, right?
Absolutely, right.
Perfect. This has been a lot of information. It's been great information. We've had a lot of questions. I want to thank J.T. So from Ubiquiti, Tom Meyer, Jonathan Brown, Kathy Sosa from DGWB Advertising for giving us their information today. We know it's a lot to take in a single setting. Please come to the Ubiquiti website for the Ubiquiti World Network, or come to Streakwave if you have questions. We're happy to answer them. If I didn't get to your question today, I think I got to most of them, but if I didn't get to your question today, we'll try and do so offline. Please feel free to email us at any time. Streakwave Webinars presents information on industry topical things very frequently. They're generally free and available. We invite you to come again. If there's anything else that we can offer at this point, let us know. JT, Tom, Jonathan, Kathy, anything else you want to add today?
Sure. I'll just end with this. Again, with this program, these assets, this program that we've done together with DGWB, again, our biggest goal is to grow the WISP industry. We want to grow the awareness for what we do, and we want to let everyone know that there is another option for high-speed internet. So whether you decide to use our ads, whether you decide to sign up or not, or whether you just simply take some of the tactics that DGWB shared with us today, you know, we hope that it's helpful for your business, and we hope it help you guys grow no matter what you decide to do. And with that, good luck.
Great. Thank you guys for presenting today. Remember, teaching people about the WISP business is something that's good for everybody. This is a service that you can use in order to offset that. Thank you for coming to the webinar today. Please join us again next time.